following Answers for Elders podcast features author, innovator, Alzheimer's and dementia family coach, Faith Marshall. And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders Radio. And we are here on the podcast network and here with wonderful Faith Marshall. And Faith is not only an Alzheimer's and dementia expert, but she also works in the science of hypnosis. And one of the things that I know we have probably know very little as a society about hypnosis and its benefits. And so I've asked Faith to kind of take some time and let's spend a few segments here talking about what is hypnosis and how does it help families. So Faith, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Suzanne. I just love being here. I enjoy it so much. Thank you.
Well, I love you being here too. And certainly learning about your approach and how you work with families, not only in senior care, but, it really fascinates me because family caregivers go through a lot. I know the statistics are overwhelming. It's like 40% job loss and loss of pension benefits, financial pressures. The average caregivers, I believe, spends about $8,000 of their own money every year on just direct caregiving expenses. Just trying to be everything to everyone. And oftentimes they put themselves last. And so they're in a situation oftentimes where they're stressed out. They're overwhelmed.
Very
all
much
of
so.
These different things. So Faith, tell me a little bit about, obviously you've worked with caregivers. What are you finding to start when they come to see you?
Yeah, I think the stress starts before we even realize it starts. It starts when they start making changes in their own life to care for a loved one. And they're, like you said, they're adjusting their careers, they're adjusting their family life. And so there's this underlying stress before you're even caring for the loved one at all. And that builds. And
it's that self-doubt.
It's so hard to put yourself first in anything, right? We as moms, for instance, will always sacrifice for our kids, and families are doing that for their loved ones. And there's that tension that it starts every day, underlying tension. And then the day goes on, and caring for a loved one can be rewarding. You're spending time with them. It's a beautiful experience that you'll cherish forever. But the stress is always there. And the self-care is not something that we put first.
Sure.
So what I love about hypnosis is it's kind of a shortcut to stress relief. And there's a lot of different things that we can do as stress relievers, but hypnosis is helping our subconscious ignore those thoughts that are nagging us and causing us stress, and helping to guide us through in a positive way. And a lot of people don't really understand what hypnosis is all about. They're familiar with the stage hypnosis, where they heard of a friend that was barking like a dog on stage and not having, feeling in control. And that kind of puts this field in front of people sometimes as to whether they think it will work for them or there's a resistance for it. But when you think about all the things that you do automatically without thinking, getting in your car, sitting down, what do you do first? Do you start the key? Do you put your seatbelt on? You have your own subconscious routine that you do. And we're doing many things every day using our subconscious.
It's interesting that you're talking about this because, I have a career. I used to work for Tony Robbins. And a lot of the stuff he does incorporate Ericksonian hypnosis into a lot of the techniques that he uses, and also neuro-linguistic programming. So that's a lot of, modeling and awareness. But it's also about synapses of, if you have a memory, you're looking up to the left, you have a creative idea, you're looking to the right. So there's a lot of things, if you're internalizing, there's a lot of things that can go on. So and the reason why I'm bringing all this up is that as a hypnotist, you probably notice a lot of things when you meet with the client that just through their own behaviors, through the things that they're saying, that they may not even realize that they're saying to themselves or, putting on themselves. Is that the correct? I mean, is that ring true to you?
Exactly, Suzanne. We're all guilty of negative self-talk,
Uh-huh.
right? And so we're critical of ourselves, and then we're critical of our actions, thinking that maybe we're at fault for something that just happened.
Sure.
Especially with caring for a loved one, you feel responsible, so then you tend to think, what could I have done differently? You're looking for that self-correction. And that's human nature.
Right.
So where hypnosis can really help is just creating that calm. We've all heard about meditation and how if you meditate in the morning, it will help you through your day because you're just kind of in this a little bit of a Zen state, or at least you're giving your day a chance by starting that way. And the response I get from people after hypnosis is usually just a big wow. I have never felt so relaxed before. And it's a relief. It's just the session itself is a relief. And then whatever suggestions that the client chooses to have help with will help them subconsciously.
Well, and I think too, one of the things that, we're all quote unquote wired differently. However, I think I was lucky as a child because I had an aunt. I got to tell you about this crazy aunt that I wish she wasn't crazy, but she was amazing. She was my Aunt Marty, but my Aunt Marty always used to say, look for the diamonds. Look for the diamonds. And this is as a little girl. And what did that mean was diamonds are rough, right? But shined up, they're amazing. They're gorgeous, right? So the point is that every single adversity or experience that you go to is more chiseling to make you a greater person, right? And so in my book, I talk about this. It's like I talk about when I was caregiving, I had the tools within myself, okay, to look for the diamonds. And there was questions that I used to ask myself every day, and I actually give out these little cards that say look for the diamonds, and it's who did you help today, or what was the greatest experience about today? What did you learn today? How did your, what was a moment that you can remember that was good? And you know what, if some days there aren't many, I will agree with you. But if you can find one sliver in the day, you're better off to connect to that in your mind. Is that true? Than all focusing on all the negative, because that's going to take you down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And I mean, that's kind of what, when I look at someone that is quote unquote using hypnosis like you are, you're helping people with tools to function in their daily life. Am I on the right track when we're talking about that?
Yes. So when we have negative self-talk, it's very common to try to reverse that and use positive affirmations. And so hypnosis is about flipping to the positive. Right. So in a conversation with someone, you're hearing what they're saying, and then you're helping them to reframe it. So it's reframing. As a very well-known hypnotist shared with me, Tom Silver, it's like you're putting in a new operating system in some cases. It's used a lot for PTSD. It's used for helping you sleep. There's so many things that it can be helpful with. And you're putting in a new operating system. It's like your computer. You're cleaning out the crap and you're installing a new operating system and you're starting fresh. And the client is part of that choice. What can we help you with? It's not something where the hypnotist comes in and just starts reprogramming without them, knowing what the outcome is going to be. It's their choice as to what do you want these suggestions to be? What would help you most?
Right.
And those positive affirmations are a big part of that.
Yeah. And thinking about too is just talking about self-talk. You may consciously be negative on yourself, but I do believe that there's a lot of unconscious self-talk that we're giving ourselves.
Oh, yes.
Maybe the way we sit, or the way we we don't participate in things. Maybe there's some fear there that is holding us back from doing things, or especially this family dynamics between that we may have in our families where we're having conversations with siblings or different things like that. And sometimes it's really hard to just speak up for yourself. It's
Mhm.
getting that courage, that ability to believe in yourself, to be able to get to to a good quality of life. And I
Right.
think that's one of the things that hypnosis can really help with. I know in so many cases it's about belief. Is that true? I mean,
Yeah, they call that limiting self-beliefs, and we all have
mhm,
those, right?
yes,
So
we
yeah, that
do.
can be something to work on, and it can also help them to feel better about themselves.
Mhm,
And also, when you talk about speaking up in the world of caregivers, being confident in asking for help
mhm.
and not feeling like you're lacking somewhere. It's
Yeah,
just you're tired and you're tired for a reason. So asking for help is a blessing, and
it
it's
is.
a live and learn, right? You've been there, you've learned it, and now you're learning to ask.
Mhm.
And finding that that's okay can
Right.
be part of a hypnosis session, and it's okay to ask for help, and dismissing some of that self chatter where you feel like you're not worthy of help or
Mhm,
you're failing as to why you do need help. But it's the hardest unpaid job, I think, in the world.
mhm. Well, I always say caregiving is one of the hardest things in the life you'll ever do, but it's also your greatest privilege.
Yes.
And I think again, that's reframing
Mhm.
right there. So
Right.
it's kind of where I live, and it's probably a lot of it from my years of working with Tony. But in the meantime, Faith, how do we reach you?
You can reach me at faithmarshall.com, my author's page, or Awakening Hypnosis and Coaching.
And we're going to spend this hour talking about the benefits of hypnosis, how if you're taking care of a family member or anything like that, think about what are you saying to yourself? How are you living about your day? Are you what we say majoring in minor things where you're just getting through the day? Or maybe your life could be improved a little bit better through this process. Faith will be right back right after this.
Thank you, Suzanne.
We would like to thank you for joining us in this podcast. Faith is here to support you and your family on this journey. She will help you to come together in harmony, creating the best team in advocating for your loved one's care. So call Faith at 855-363-2484 to receive a $200 gift card just by mentioning that you've heard these podcasts. Again, that number is 855-363-2484. And guess what? That spells Faith, 855-3-FAITH.